somebody who really does take business ideas from concept to market. He has a global experience. He's worked for many, many years in the US, Asia Pacific, Middle East, and right here in India, taking this organization to places. May I request all of you to please extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Munish Kumar, Chief Executive Officer, Quess Integrated Facility Management Services. What a pleasure to have him amongst us, and we're looking forward to hearing him out. And like we said, after his session, I would request you to open up and maybe ask a couple of questions. Welcome, sir.
So how do I use this? Okay. Hi, good morning everybody. I hope I am audible to everybody. All right? Okay. You know, it's after Ashish and the kind of talk he had about sustainability and net zero, I walk here with a plastic bottle of water and bunch of papers with my notes on it. So I thought of letting it go, but then I decided better safe than sorry. But we, I think, definitely can make a lot of conscious efforts towards going towards that vision. I wanted to present to you today, last year or so, I have been listening quite a lot in most of my meetings with my customers, with my colleagues, whenever I am traveling. And I thought whatever I was listening, whatever we were talking, I'll put it all as what I saw as the future trends in what I call as the smart facilities management. And probably this will not give answers, it will evoke a lot of questions. And that is what the intent is in terms of presenting this to you. First of all, I would like to thank ET Edge and Times Group for hosting this event, planning it properly, and also Compass and Tenant for being the co-sponsors. Thank you very much. And everybody else who has come together to be a part of this event. I was tempted to actually attend a lot of events, but Major Jasdeep Singh, our Chief Operating Officer, kept on telling me, Munish, we will go to this event because this is the event to go to. And when I come over here, right from the start, all the preparations, the full house over here and the energy tells me probably we did the right thing in waiting for this event. And I think we should not have any breaks now in this event, and we should have it year on year. So I'll just move on to some things. I like to present data which is referenceable. So some of this data could be a little old, but it will be accurate. Most of the slides that I'm presenting, if you want any references to that or you want the research notes associated with it, you can write to me and I will pass it on to you. It has got larger details associated. This is a global market. Of course, you look at the total market space data, it's a little old, but I think it should be at about 1.4, 1.5 trillion currently. We are looking at a global growth rate of 7.4%. Total workforce of the world is 1.7% in IFM. And of course, in the world, the outsourced FM is 50%. And I'll come to India. And public versus private is a 65-35 kind of a split. When we come to India, we are at a 4.2 to 4.4% of our GDP. That is the contribution we have. We are growing at a CAGR of about 8%, currently at $127 billion here and there. But this is where the difference is. Our outsourced facility management is only 20%, in-source is 80%, and ultimately all of this is divided between integrated, in-house of 60 and 20%. Private versus public, there is a huge gap between what the world does and what we do. 80% private, 20% public, though it is very aggressively changing as the government is focusing on infrastructure. And if you look at the way our airports are changing, our highways are changing, our ports are changing, I think the split is going to change with more and more PPP and the government participation that is coming our way. And this is the industry outlook. This is how commercial, industrial, institutional, public, and other infrastructure is there. Obviously, one theme that I see is that 7.3% of public is going to grow quite a lot as we'll move forward. And this is what I was mentioning, the major trends that I am seeing in smart facilities management in India and across the world. And that's what I will try to, position over here. Of course, this is what we all understand. This is the core of what we do, the facilities management, right from the landscaping to the utilities to the MEP works and the various other aspects of integrated facility management that we are involved in. I've chosen 4 themes from my discussions. Automation, which is robotics and IoT, which helps drive decisions for us on the ground today. Remote monitoring and maintenance, and theme which has picked up quite a lot, especially after COVID. Employee well-being and experience, I think, has always been at the forefront across the world, but I think we are seeing a lot of that trend now in India. And sustainability and net zero. Of course, I am very confident we are going to have a mention of this in every talk today. And in terms of automation, robotics, sometime back, 3-4 years back, just before COVID, one of the investors in an organization I was working for called me and said, Munish, what do you think of these robots coming into the industry, especially into logistics or the manufacturing? How does it impact the staffing industry? Is it going to be a problem for us? So I called out, I said, hey, listen, I don't think it's a problem for India because the wages here are very low. If you want to actually look at the cost of implementation of those robots in this country, vis-a-vis that the wages that they pay in the West, I think it is probably more applicable to West than to us. That was 4 years back. I spoke too soon. I think robotics has found such a prompt place in our workplace today. A lot of manufacturing facilities, a lot of logistics companies are actually, utilizing a lot of robotics, a lot of automation. And I think the world is changing drastically and dramatically around us. So currently, our production, delivery, logistics, packaging, all of them are heavy users of this. But I believe every 3 months the use case is changing, getting more robust. We are getting deeper into it. Typically 2 usages for us today. One is the repetitive task and another one is the hazardous task. Of course, we have done a lot of work in sorting, delivery, assistance, equipment maintenance, especially towards the hazardous parts. And I think there is a lot more to come as we are going. I went to a ceramics company in Gujarat a few years back, and the guy told me, Munish, I'm not getting people to work in my factory, so I have put in a robot. 3-4 years back, quite frankly, to me, it was almost like a deja vu moment. I said, what is he talking about? But today it seems so normal, and I think it is going to become more and more normal as we will move forward. Of course, this is the landscape, this is the overall scape that we all operate in. Most of us are familiar with that design part, which is the building automation systems and the BIM systems. But the world is now slowly for us, getting more sorted with the hardware. So today you are seeing all of those repetitive tasks, linear spaces where you got the robots which go and clean and come back. That is, we hear about them a lot, but wherever there is a very clean, straightforward workspace where an automation can be achieved through hardware, it is being done. Content source, which was mostly manuals, is becoming more interactive right now, which is what is there. It is mostly visual, videos. And then it will go into every level. It will go into voice. It will go into every aspect of sensors that we can think about as we'll move forward. Mapping has been limited to geospatial mapping, but I think we will be actually utilizing it more for crowd control, people recognition, people management, command and control. All of those aspects are going to come into what we do, not somebody else does. SDKs, it has been mostly used in gaming, but I think more and more of our learning would be gaming-led, experience-led, experiential learning. All that is coming our way, and design, I think, is quite robust for us. And of course, it is going to see amalgamation of all of these things, and this will become more and more interactive, intelligent, and robust. This is what a smart building looks like. It has gone from evolution of 1.0 to 4.0, where we started with structured cabling long time back. And then, of course, the Ethernet, and then the digital ceilings came, which was quite a thing. And today, all of these assets and technologies have merged into the Internet of Things, which is the big talk today, right? Big data, analytics, data-driven decision making. So all of those aspects are coming together, and that is how our buildings are evolving, right? So today, right from the HVAC at the top to the energy information management and the water management and mechanical system and everything else around the lighting, environment, fire systems, energy management systems is a very important component. So each of the buildings that we are working in becoming more and more smart, green. We are talking about multiple certifications. And why is it important? Yeah, because 28% of global emissions actually come from smart buildings or buildings. And smart buildings can help it reduce. These are the benefits. So if I'm saying 28% of global emissions and 22% of Indian emissions are coming from buildings, it is a demonstrated fact that 20 to 25% reduction in energy consumption, 4 to 5% in water consumption, 19 to 28% reduction in carbon emission. And these are two very interesting statistics. So every dollar you are putting in or every 100 rupees you are putting in into a smart building, you are creating $190 of additional to the GDP. So that means it is creating employment or business or revenue for the associated supply ecosystem. Same thing is for the employment multiplier. Every 100 people you are employing in this smart building, 190 employment are getting generated, outside of that. So that's a great multiplier, isn't it? So a smart building is going to help us reduce all of these parameters. At the same time, it is going to help us increase the economic and employment parameters. This is a huge force multiplier, quite frankly, right in front of us. Couple of case studies, we got Mercedes and Flipkart, who have actually used it for their HVAC by efficient energy management, by using efficient compressor systems. And they've been able to demonstrate some really crazy numbers like 25, 30% kind of, energy savings. This is a theme, of course, we are getting into smart facilities, smart lighting, indoor air quality improvement. So this whole thing of digital facilities management, this gamut of this is moving. Earlier we had a visitor entry. There was a register got replaced by a visitor management system. And today it is all automated and it has got various facets of, identity and bioidentity and touch and feel and look that can be managed from anywhere. And then, of course, every aspect of what we are talking about over here, whether it is the VC solution, audio video control, temperature control, lighting control, software updates, all of this, in large part, digitally can be handled on-site, off-site, and that's where the world is going. And of course, some of the benefits that we are getting into, which are the predictive maintenance services, nobody can, dispute this particular fact. What kind of money we can save by predictive maintenance, reducing energy, increasing efficiency, creating employee productivity. There are a lot of aspects which are associated with all of this. Of course, that data is specific to US, but I'm sure the trend is not going to be far behind. What I'm noticing is that most of the trends in India are actually, they were earlier lagging, but now they're leading quite a lot, from the Western world, especially around technology. We all know what has happened to UPI in India. Everybody is very happy buying, spices or vegetables outside with the vendors. 4 years back, 5 years back, people thought it was impossible. Now the Western guys are coming over here and getting amazed at what we are able to do, buying from the vegetable vendors. So some of these studies, McKinsey has done a study that it can generate substantial savings of 5 to 15%. It can reduce maintenance costs by 18 to 20%. Asset monitoring, the problem is that unplanned downtime is the biggest worry for everybody. A planned downtime is fine, but unplanned downtimes can actually cost you more than 10 times of what a normal cost to your business continuity or productivity would be. Example is global wind capacity has increased by 53% between these years, but unscheduled downtime has accounted for over 60% of maintenance and operation. I think all of these are great statistics for us because these are our opportunities as we are moving forward. Of course, the third theme that I had in my conversations was about employee well-being and experience. I'm running through because my time's up, but I'll expect another 5, 6 minutes. This has actually become the crux of everything that we are doing today. And a lot of us, whether we are the clients, users, service providers, actually focus a lot around this, empathy, manage their workloads, the kind of workspaces they have, the environment and engagement in which they are working and operating in. Of course, there is a study which actually says that the workplace stress, it is costing the US corporates about $200 billion annually. And today the workspace strategies are going from fixed to flexible. Earlier you would go, everything was very well defined. And quite frankly, everything was very predictable. Today you go to the workspaces, every workspace is different and unique. And each one of them has become more and more flexible. And also, your well-being was not really explicitly considered. But today it is being planned, it is being addressed. In fact, people are creating real estate financial models around this planning on well-being for their employees. A couple of studies which says that, you're looking at the corporate well-being as a market growing from $20 billion to 80 odd billion dollars. Definitely the same trend is going to come in India, because I am seeing that in my conversations. The number of customers, partners inquiring for this aspect as part of the services that we do is tremendously growing. Of course, most of the CHRO are putting employee mental health and well-being as at the top, almost 68% of them. That is the trend that we are talking about. Of course, in terms of the employee productivity, biophilic design, which you are finding more and more across India. It is a study that has come up that in a biophilic workplace, employees are 15% higher level of well-being and 15% higher level of creativity. That's the kind of comfort we are giving. Of course, happy employees are considered 12% more productive than unhappy ones. Yeah, one study puts it at 20%. Now, all those who have salespeople in their company, or all those who are salespeople, happy salespeople, their productivity rises by 37%. So, and of course, the corporate well-being market, like I had said, it is exponentially growing in the next 2 years. And of course, across the decade, it will have a very, very big impact. What is the net zero? Of course, you have your carbon emissions, from the material and systems. You have your operational energy consumption and carbon footprint. So you minimize both of them. You maximize your use of renewable energy, and then you balance it out. That is what takes us to net zero, right? That is what all of us are planning. This is what I was mentioning earlier. What does a smart building do? So the building operations are today contributing 28% globally, 22% in India. India has a unique problem. We also have a shortage of water. So, in terms of the kind of population that we have. I will pass it on. It's a very busy slide, but this I wanted to just project it over here. IFMA has created a great framework for ESG, which is very applicable for integrated facility management. Covers all aspects of employee well-being, energy, wastage, technology, and whatnot. And it actually gives a 7-point glide path to achieving a net zero sustainability for every industry. So, very important framework. And if you see this in the context of India, the beauty of India is we are very different from the world. This is a dashboard presented by Niti Aayog, where you will see that most of our carbon footprint is getting created through fuel and related industries. A small section is the cement and mineral, is the IPPC part, IPPU part, and only few from the agriculture and the other areas that we have been engaged and involved in. I just wanted to highlight some of the companies which have pledged to be carbon net zero, by 2050. So some of the marquee names, this is what makes them what they are, right? They always think ahead. That is why you will see they have seen decades of changes and still they are at the top. I'm happy to announce that, Quess has also taken the SBTi pledge, which is around the 1 degrees centigrade path. And I'm very sure that, we'll make it sooner than what we have committed for. By the way, most of them are our customers, and I'm sure same is true for all of you. But for all of this, I just have last couple of slides to actually, mull upon and talk about, for us to actually go through all of those conversations, future trends. Are we ready as a country, as an industry, And 52 crores of workforce, 10.2% is in facility management sector. Debatable because a lot of it is unorganized, and because today 80% is in-house, 20% is outsourced, and today facility management is quite unorganized, which is where it is not seeing that formal employment coming in. But that is a very interesting comparison. If you look at the world growth rate in integrated facility management, world is talking 8%, we are talking 13%. If you look at the total facility management, world is talking 7%, we are talking 21.2%. If you look at the total facility management workforce as a percentage of total workforce, I showed in my first slide the global one. They're at 1.7%, we are at 10.2%. And total facility as a percentage of GDP, the world is at 1.6, we're at 4.4. It's a humongous opportunity. And as the infrastructure gets built up, as we get more and more serious about, employee well-being, adopting technology, becoming smart, adopting net zero, I think this opportunity is going to grow. This opportunity is also our challenge, by the way, because when I go to the customers, everybody is asking me, what more, what new, what difference, what technology, what automation, and a lot of them are actually connected to this. Do we have the skill set in our country? I took this slide from the UK L2 to L7 framework. They're very well-defined frameworks. So if you want a L2 level certified or apprentice or a MSc or MBA or a bachelor's or a diploma, they've got a very well-defined framework. Of course, we attempted this in India by National Skill Development Corporation about a decade back, 15 years back, when we set up the occupational standards, national occupational standards. Of course, we drew heavily on UK and Australia and various other markets, and we created sector skill councils. Our sector skill councils have made an attempt, but I believe we have been able to only go to a particular level in terms of the level of certification. I think at a supervisor level, we have reached those 3-month courses, 6-month courses, integrated courses, but I think there is a huge ground for us to be covered. Of course, IFMA is doing pretty good work. There are 3 certifications that I found are very relevant, but I think there is a lot more that needs to be done to bridge that gap of L2 to L7 that I mentioned in my previous slide. And I think this is where a little bit of advocacy from all of us, a little bit of coming together from all of us is really needed, because it is no longer just the availability of the last mile that we are talking about. As we will have smarter buildings, as we will have adoption of all of those trends that I spoke about, and a lot of the trends that you guys will speak this morning, we will feel this gap coming and crushing all of us. And hence, we have to be prepared. This professional certificate, which is limited to 2 or 3 courses, skill training, which is limited to a sector skill council, which works in the industry, which is again limited to, let's say, a L3 level, which is a supervisory level. And beyond that, we're all looking at the hotel management or various other service industries, and we are bringing people in. But are we able to adapt them? And of course, our ITIs, our engineering colleges, are they well-versed and set up to support us? So I think there's a lot that needs to be done by us as an industry, as the ecosystem to build this gap. Because unless this gap is filled, I think all of those things that we are looking at will be a lost opportunity, and the lead that we have in terms of the projection will become a lag. So thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Once again, looking forward to spend the rest of the day over here. And thank you for such a great participation. Thank you.
Thank you so very